Welcome everyone to the Lord of Mysteries novel summary series on AniMonolith. Even though the story was about old Neil, Klein's mind currently only contained thoughts about the sealed object that had been stolen by Ensanguil. Klein wondered what kind of terrifying ability a normal-looking brush pen that could write without ink had that would be classified as level 0, the most dangerous level. Then Klein thought about the brush that could kill anyone when their name was written. But Klein also felt that this speculation was absurd because if he had such terrible abilities, Ensanguil would not have to hide from the Beyonders pursuing him. At this moment, Dunn Smith suddenly spoke up and reminded Klein to go see Lady Oriana, the company's accountant, to receive his salary first. Hearing that, Klein refused because he had not gone to work before. However, Dunn Smith advised that Klein needed money to invest in clothes and necessary items for himself when he became an employee of Blackthorn Security Company. After listening to Dunn Smith's words, Klein immediately reviewed his appearance and discovered that he looked poor because he always used cheap clothes to maximize living expenses. Then Klein agreed to an attractive offer from Dunn Smith. Seeing that, Dunn Smith asked Klein to quickly follow him to see Roseanne because she would be the one to show him the way to Lady Oriana. When he learned that no special papers or documents were needed to receive his salary, Klein was extremely surprised because he thought he had to have Dunn Smith's signature for confirmation. But both Dunn Smith and Roseanne said it wasn't necessary. However, at this moment, Dunn Smith remembered something that required his signature to help Klein receive demon-hunting bullets from old Neil's arsenal. Because Dunn Smith believed that Klein had Welch's pistol stored at home, Klein could use it along with demon-hunting bullets for self-defense. However, Klein immediately rejected this idea. Because he has never used a gun. After thinking, Dunn Smith changed his mind and suggested that Klein try to practice shooting with regular bullets. The shooting practice location is at 3 Zutland Street because there is an area reserved for Nighthawks. However, Klein needed a badge to be allowed in there, so Dunn Smith quickly added this requirement to the previous confirmation form. After making sure that Dunn Smith had not forgotten any further instructions, Klein followed Roseanne's instructions to Lady Oriana. During our conversation, Roseanne pointed out that Dan Smith has a tendency to forget things, and she also mentioned that Oriana's father was an extremely skilled watchmaker. Then they both went to the financial management room and saw Lady Oriana with an extremely noble appearance sitting there. Oriana has beautiful green eyes and speaks extremely friendly and approachable. Then while counting money to give to Klein, Oriana asked him why Dunn Smith invited him to join the Nighthawks organization. At the same time, she also made two speculations about this. One is that Klein is involved in the Heretic case, and two is that Klein has some special ability. Faced with Klein's surprise when the answer was almost correct, Oriana immediately explained that she had also experienced the same situation as Klein. Then Oriana told about a serial murder that happened in Tingen City 16 years ago. Hearing that, Klein quickly remembered the name of the bloody butcher once mentioned by the original's mother to warn Melissa to pay attention to safety when going out. Because he is a murderer who specializes in targeting young girls. Oriana herself almost became his sixth victim at that time, because he had previously killed 5 girls and then brutally removed their hearts and organs. But luckily for Oriana, when she became a victim of the bloody butcher, the Nighthawks saved her. So Oriana, whose major is accounting, decided to become an employee of Nighthawks to both repay the favor and seek protection for herself. Then Oriana revealed that the bloody butcher was originally a Beyonder, and the reason he failed in his 6th attack was because he was in the process of performing a sacrifice ritual. So the Nighthawks were able to reach and rescue Oriana. After being told the past story by Oriana, Klein received a £5 note, it's almost equal to 4 weeks of Benson's salary, and went to meet old Neil. Neil was in a cramped room which only allowed for a desk and 2 chairs. He had dark red eyes and seemed quite friendly. Then Neil quickly explained to Klein about his upcoming job, which was to review historical documents as well as documents and objects collected by the Nighthawks to investigate clues. Seeing Klein's confused appearance, old Neil explained to him by taking out a document recorded from the diary said to be of the great Emperor Roselle. Many people say these are from Roselle Gustav's lost diary before his death, so the great emperor used very strange words to write it down to avoid the enemy discovering the secret. Because no one had yet deciphered the entire diary, the cathedral allowed the Nighthawks to record a version to search for answers. Speaking of which, Neil showed Klein this note. The moment he saw the record from the diary of the great Roselle, Klein was extremely surprised because those strange characters were Chinese and it was also simplified Chinese. Then Klein quickly read the 3 copies, and the more he read, the more he discovered many interesting things written down by Emperor Roselle herself. In each note, Roselle recorded the specific date, but the years of some timelines were not mentioned. Only the period from January 1184 was specifically recorded by Roselle. November 18th. Truly a fascinating matter. A blue sky experimentation and a chance mistake made me discover the pathetic fellow lost and trapped in the deep darkness amid the storms. He can only approach the reality of this world on the day of the full moon every month, yet, he is unable to transmit his cries. He is lucky to have met me, the protagonist of this era. After reading the paragraph I wrote above, I suddenly felt a little down. Even my Chinese is written like a translation. For decades have passed in a finger snap. My past memories feel more like a dream. 1184, January 1st. At the Grand New Year Gala, Lady Florina was truly splendid. January 2nd. My diplomats are all idiots. January 3rd. I made a hasty choice back then. In hindsight, I should have chosen the apprentice, the seer, or the bandit. Unfortunately, there is no way of redoing it. January 4th. Why are my children so stupid? I've repeated myself so many times. Do not be fooled by those charlatans. The key thing about potions is not about grasping them, but digesting them. It's nothing about tapping powers, but acting. And the name of a potion is not solely symbolic at its core, but a concrete imagery, and the key to digestion. September 9th. An alliance opposing me has been established. Faysac from the north, Lone from the east, Fainapotter from the south. My enemies have finally joined forces, but I have no fear. I will use facts to teach them that the generations of weapons and knowledge cannot be compensated by mere numbers and low-grade sequencers. Besides, it's not as though I do not have subordinates. As for the higher grades, heh, have they forgotten who I am? September 23rd. I have lost communications with the ship seeking the forsaken land of the gods. I should consider inventing wireless telegraphs. I hope it would not be affected by the storm. September 24th. Miss Ithaca is more mesmerizing than Lady Florina. Perhaps, I'm just being nostalgic about my youth. Although there was a lot of information missing, especially the timeline that could not be determined, through the 3 copies copied from Roselle's diary, Klein felt filled with hope for the way back. Although there were still many hidden meanings that Klein did not understand, he felt that the information on how to use potions and other knowledge was extremely valuable. At the same time, Klein also wishes to have access to Roselle's full diary to be able to answer hidden questions. Just thinking about doing it right away, Klein asked old Neil if there were any copies of the diaries left because he wanted to study them thoroughly. Faced with Klein's intense desire, the old man with dark red eyes laughed because this reminded him of his youth. The old man, like many people, also enthusiastically wanted to neutralize the strange characters that Emperor Roselle had used but failed. Besides, Roselle's diary is also considered one of the secrets of the cathedral because it may contain knowledge about mystical events or extraordinary creatures. Therefore, collecting all diary pages is extremely difficult, even almost impossible. Because many people want to occupy it to serve their needs. At the same time, current reality shows that the presence of species such as dragons, giants, or elves has been seriously reduced in the northern continent, and they are the necessary ingredients to prepare potions. This leads to a reduction in the number of people who want to become Beyonders. In response to old Neil's information, Klein Riley suggested establishing an association to protect dragons and giants. Klein's excitement and optimism made old Neil very happy and the two quickly found common ground. Finally, the two thought of a suitable name to protect those mystical and extraordinary species with an association called the Fantastic Creatures Protection Association. Old Neil then ended the conversation by checking the items that Klein had approved by Dunn Smith in the paper and then entered the armory to retrieve them. With his careful personality, Neil did not forget to ask whether Klein had a gun holster or not. Upon receiving a reply from Klein that he did not have that accessory, old Neil quickly added it to the list. Then, quickly after that, Neil asked Klein to check to see if any items were missing. All include 10 demon hunting bullets, 30 normal bullets, and a badge of 7 units of the Special Operations Division. When receiving the 7-unit badge, Klein deliberately said that it would be great if he had the opportunity to wear the Nighthawk's badge to see old Neil's reaction. However, the old Neil did not show any unusual attitude. At the same time, through a conversation with Neil, Klein also learned that he used to be a teacher at a free public school and Sunday school of the Church of the Evernight Goddess. This means that Beyonder's previous work was extremely ordinary. Klein then said goodbye to Neil to prepare for his next work. While going up the stairs, Klein suddenly saw the silhouette of a young police officer with a poetic temperament walking towards him. Klein suddenly remembered that Roseanne had previously revealed that he was the Sleepless. Then the two met each other and greeted each other very politely and cheerfully. The young police officer opened the conversation by introducing his name and position. It turns out that his full name is Leonard Mitchell and he is the Midnight Bard of Sequence 8. After listening to Leonard, Klein felt that the position of Midnight Bard matched Leonard's temperament. However, Klein did not forget to ask why Leonard came to see him. In response to Klein's question, the other person happily replied that he was attracted to Klein's special aura. Of course, Klein did not believe this answer, but he felt that Leonard had no bad intentions, so he politely said goodbye to Leonard and left. As soon as Klein left, Leonard muttered and asked someone hiding in the air if he had detected any special signs of Klein. After a while, Leonard could only be disappointed because Klein showed no special signs.